message is anchored in on St. Paul's letter to the Romans, chapter 5, verse 5, which talks about hope, our hope not failing us. Given where we are in Nigeria today, it goes without saying, it's clear. There is despondency, there's despair, there is suffering, there is, people are distraught, people are traumatized, people are confused because of what is happening, especially with the insecurity and with hunger, with so many things happening in the country. And therefore, in situations like this, it is very, very easy for people to despair. And it is very, very easy for people to lose hope. And when people lose hope, they lose everything. And therefore, hope is the only thing that keeps people alive. And therefore, the core of our message is, yes, we are suffering. Yes, we are despondent. Yes, we are traumatized. Yes, as we talk, there are thousands of Nigerians in kidnappers' dens. And there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Nigerians who have lost their dear ones. There are people in this congregation here that have even been victims of these kidnappings. They have been with the kidnappers. And so in situations like this, it is very easy even for the most religious to think that God has abandoned them, like the Israelites, of old when they were in bondage. Like Jesus Christ himself hanging on the cross. Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, he cried his Father when he was intensely suffering. So in situations like this, it is very easy for people to lose hope, to despair, and therefore to see no reason to live. And therefore the resurrection of Jesus Christ gives us hope. We know how he suffered. We know the agony he went through. We know that he was crucified. We know that he died, he was buried, but then he rose triumphant. And therefore it's a message of hope for us, that as Christ going through all these things, and then surviving it because he trusted in the Father, because he lived by the will of the Father. I am saying, the gospel message is saying to the people that the risen Christ is with us. And yes, like I tried to put it in my message, the plight of Nigerians today is like the plight of the two disciples on the road to Emmaus. Having seen their master crucified, having seen their master dead, having seen their master buried, the master that they thought was going to be the savior of Israel, that was going to liberate them from suffering, they saw him buried. For them, that was the end of the journey. For them, that was the journey had come to an end. In fact, these two disciples were running away, going back to their own life in the village, because they have seen their master on Good Friday killed, and so they had nothing to live for again. And then walking, they were discussing, because they were so immersed in their challenges, their difficulties, in what has happened. Even when Jesus was walking with them, talking to them, they didn't recognize him. Their problem blinded them, deafened them, they didn't hear. So when Christ was talking to them, they didn't know. They were even telling him, calling him an ignorant person, But then he followed them patiently, gradually explaining to them, and therefore he opened their own minds. And they who were running away, the moment they discovered that Christ is risen, they had to go back and share the story with the other disciples, giving them hope that really, indeed, the Lord is risen, and therefore we have no reason to be afraid. And this is my message to the Nigerians today, who are, I repeat, who are traumatized, who are despondent, who are hopeless, who are almost like despaired, to say it is not the end of the world, that our God is Emmanuel, that there is no suffering we are going through that he does not know, he's not aware of, he doesn't stand aloof. If anything, he hears our cry. And so the cry, he heard his son's cry, he saved him, and therefore I have no doubt in my own mind that he knows what is happening to us Nigerians, and therefore at the end of the day he will intervene at his own good time. We need patience, we need faith, we need to trust him and leave everything in his own hands. I have no doubt that he will see us to the end of this problem. This is our hope, and this is our prayer for our dear country Nigeria. If what they have done thus far is anything to go by, I think the political will is not there to address the issues of security in this country. We know the capacity of the Nigerian military. The Nigerian military, the Nigerian security agency, even our policemen and women, they have gone to different parts of the world and they have proven that they are capable of protecting us. They are capable, our military can do this. And therefore, that this is happening to our country, the giant of Africa, something has gone wrong. Whatever it has gone wrong, we have no one else to blame but the government. The government has a responsibility, a constitutional responsibility. Look at that. Politicians are angling for offices come 2023. This government, the present government we have, they knew the situation of this country before 2015, and yet they told us that there are solutions. Where are the solutions? Every time it happens, every time scores of Nigerians are killed, are maimed, they assure us and reassure us. They tell us we're on top of the situation, whereas the situation is on top of them. I think if what has happened thus far is anything to go by, and therefore I don't think the political will is there to address this issue. Given the kind of military, the gallant military that we have, given the right weapons, given the right motivation, I have no doubt that our military, they are able, our military, our security agencies, given whatever they need, I'm sure they will be able to do what? To get us out of this security quagmire that we've gotten ourselves in. Just last week, the National Assembly called for the government to declare emergency in the security sector. Well, this is a cry that many Nigerians, including my humble self, would made this point many times, that there is need to declare a state of emergency in security. Channel our resources there, our energies there, because whatever we do, we are talking about building roads, building this and that. With these things, if there's insecurity, who will use them? Even you build hospitals, if people are afraid, they can't go to hospital. If you build industries, if people are afraid, they cannot go to, they cannot use those industries. And therefore, we think that the political will is not there. If it is there, well, they will always tell us they have done their best. If what has thus happened is their best, then as always, their best is not good enough. They need to put, if there's another thing better than best, then they should go and look for it and do it for Nigeria. All we want is to be secure. All we want, look at now, we are at the verge of, just a few days ago, the statistics were produced about countries in the Sahel region, the sub-Saharan region, that are threatened by hunger. Nigeria is number one of them. Nigeria is one of them. More than 14 million Nigerians are facing starvation. And now the rains are around the corner. They have already come. And now the bandits have occupied our forests. Who is going to produce food for us? I think any leader who is thinking and who has the future, the future of his own country in his own heart, will do everything possible to ensure that Nigerians are secure, that our farmers should be able to go to farm and produce food for us. I think what we want is, we don't want to go back to Egypt. We know where we've come from with the military. We don't want to create any reason for anybody to take us back to Egypt. Our political leaders, our political class, and then, of course, we need security to be able to conduct elections, and therefore that is why if our politicians are really serious, if they really have anything, if they think well, they know that the atmosphere, the environment they are creating is not an environment that democracy will thrive, because people need to be secure in order for them to be able to go out and vote. And therefore, if things continue this way, look at in Kaduna State, we've moved from bad to worse, and things have deteriorated so badly that in this community here, I know that a lot of people have run away. The same thing, I'm a village man. I have most of my parishes are in the rural area, or 50-something parishes in the rural areas, and I know what is happening there. People cannot stay in their homes and whatever. And therefore, where will the election, how will they? So I am simply saying that I think if our politicians, if our government is wise enough, I think they should be able to do everything within their power to ensure that this, shall I say, nip it in the bud. I think we've lost the opportunity of nipping this in the bud. This should have been nipped in the bud a long time ago. But given where we are, they need therefore to do more in order to be able to create an enabling environment, for elections to take place. If elections don't take place in this country, then we know that maybe there was a plot ab initio by people not to make elections work in Nigeria after this time around. And therefore, we're not hoping for chaos, so that our democracy that we practiced for the last 22 years or so, we don't want anything that will scuttle it. But the way things are going, I think they are preparing grounds to scuttle this, and this is why Nigerians must be wary of. Nobody should be late to give them a chance to muddy the waters further in a way and manner that elections will take place. We want elections to take place. We want people who will rule us to be people that are elected and not people that are forced on us by whatever means.